Okay, so when we're working with integers, it gets tricky with adding and taking, so I'll simplify it for you. The first number that's in an integer operation, in an addition and subtraction, is your starting point. So this is your starting point. When I say starting point, I mean that's where you start on the number line. So that's negative 1.2. So if this is negative 1 here, 1.2 is going to be 2/10 of the way over. So it's going to be there. That's my starting point, nothing else. And it doesn't matter whether it's a negative number or a positive number, it'll just be simply wherever I start on this number line. Okay, so in this case, I'm adding 2. Now when you add a number, the same as if you go back to something you know, if you know you're doing 1 plus 2 and you're on a number line, you're starting here at 1 and then you're going 2 jumps over. Which direction are you going? You're going over to the right. That rule that you learnt when you were in grade 1 doesn't change. So I'm literally just starting at a negative number and I'm jumping over 2 to the right. So that's 1, 2. So where would that be? It's 2/10 before the number 1. So it's 0, decimal 8. And it's in the positive. Can you see why it's in the positive? We jumped over the 0. We went over to the right. Now, this next one again, I've still got the starting number. It's exactly the same starting number. It doesn't matter whether it's a positive or a negative number. It's your starting number. And this time I'm taking 2. So let's start with something that you definitely know. What if I gave you this? 3, take 2. You'd start on the number line here at 3 and you jump back 2. 1, 2. What direction did you go? Left. You went left for that one. So the same deal applies for this. This time I'm going to be starting at 1.2, which is here, and I'm going to jump 2 to the left. 1, 2. And that gets me here, which is negative 3.2. So I'll write my answer in negative 3.2. So we're seeing a bit of a pattern here now. I might just write after those which direction we went. So for adding a number, same as you did in grade 1, you're going right on the number line. For taking a number, just a regular number, you're going left on the number line. No challenges. Then people get stuck when they get to these ones. But you know what? It's not really any different. You're still starting at negative 1.2. And I know it says plus take, so it says add a negative 2. Here's a really sweet thing. When you've got this, the negative kind of wins out. So, you know, when you're doing self-talk and the positive stuff should win out, well, yeah, it doesn't in this case. It's the negative, it wins. So when I say that, I'm saying the negative's winning. Think about which direction that might mean on a number line. So I'm still starting here at negative 1.2, and I said the negative's going to win out here. So I'm still going to make those 2 jumps to the left. I'm going to end up at negative 3.2. Okay. Now the last one, it just doesn't really help us with any rules really, other than we've still got our starting point, and this time we're taking a negative. So I like to think of taking a negative like this. You've got a take and then you got a negative. Well, 2 negatives make a positive, right? That's essentially what it is. If you kind of take this line and you tip it down there, you almost get like a plus sign. So if we go back to the one we did at the top, when we've got a plus sign up here, which direction did we go? We went to the right. And it's the same thing. We're going to go to the right on the number line. So this time we're going to start at negative 1.2 right here. And we're going to go 2 over that way, which gets us back to that 0.8. Why am I saying... No, that's right, 0.8. I just got confused. It's very early in the morning, as you can see. So let's now have a look at a summary of that. If we add a number, and it means a positive integer, we go to the right. If we take a negative number, we go to the right. Because remember, it looks like a plus if you kind of tip it on its side. If we take a number, we go to the left, like you did in grade 1. If we add a negative number, we go to the left, because it's kind of like this one, because the negative's winning out. So the things that I would do to help myself understand is always circle the first number, which is your starting point. And if it also helps you, circle the next number and the sign with it. And then you can see what you're looking at. So this one you can see is just a regular +2, grade 1. Regular take 2, grade 1. These ones are a little bit different. But if you're adding a negative number, the negative wins out, you go to the left. If you're taking a negative number, it's like a plus sign, you tip it on the side, you go to the right. I hope that helped.